In life, we all want to achieve something meaningful. We all dream of doing something extraordinary. Many people seek out inspiration, watching countless videos and reading powerful quotes, yet they often find themselves stuck in the same place. Why is that? It's because you can't build a remarkable life on inspiration alone. Until you weave discipline into the fabric of your daily existence, motivation will remain a fleeting spark. If this idea doesn't fully resonate with you yet, I urge you to watch today's story to the very end. I promise, this story has the power to reshape your perspective on what it truly takes to succeed. In a quiet, windswept city by the sea, there lived a young woman named Clara. She harbored a grand ambition. She wanted to become a world-renowned artist, her paintings celebrated for their depth and beauty. Every morning, she would scroll through images of famous artworks, watch documentaries about master painters, and listen to interviews with creative geniuses. She often whispered to herself, "I will paint for 8 hours every single day. Starting tomorrow, my life will be completely different." The mere thought of this transformation filled her with a rush of excitement and a sense of purpose. But this feeling, as powerful as it was always short-lived. Within a few days, the initial burst of enthusiasm would fade, and she would find herself back in her old patterns, procrastinating and making excuses for her empty canvases. The easel in the corner of her room began to feel less like a gateway to her dreams and more like a silent monument to her failures. This cycle of trying and failing, of soaring hope followed by crushing disappointment, left Clara feeling deeply frustrated and lost. She started to doubt her talent, her passion, and even her dream itself. The vibrant color she once saw in the world began to look dull and grey. One crisp autumn afternoon, while wandering aimlessly through a local park, she ran into an old acquaintance, a man named Samuel. Samuel was a writer, and while he wasn't famous, there was a quiet, steady confidence about him that was undeniable. He seemed to exist on a different plane of being. He woke before the sun, wrote for several hours in his small, light-filled study, went for a long walk, and dedicated his afternoons to reading and research. He was slowly, methodically, building a body of work, one page at a time. Clara looked at him with a mix of awe and envy. "How do you do it, Samuel? How do you stay so inspired and write with such focus every single day?" Clara asked, her voice tinged with desperation. Samuel offered a gentle, knowing smile and replied, "I don't depend on inspiration, Clara. I rely on discipline." Clara looked at him, her brow furrowed in confusion, and asked, "But isn't inspiration the very soul of creativity? How can you create anything worthwhile without it?" Samuel motioned to a nearby bench, and as they sat down, he began to explain his philosophy. "Think of motivation as a powerful, unpredictable storm, Clara. It arrives with great force, with thunder and lightning, promising to water the entire land. It's exciting and full of energy, but a storm is temporary. It passes, and then the land can become dry again, waiting for the next downpour. You can't plan a harvest around a storm." He paused, letting his words sink in. "Discipline, on the other hand, is like a small, steady stream that you build yourself. It might not have the drama of a storm, but it flows every single day without fail. It consistently nourishes the soil, allowing seeds to sprout and roots to grow deep. It's the daily, deliberate act of showing up, especially on the days when you feel no inspiration at all. That's where the real strength is found. Motivation is about wanting to do something," he continued. "Discipline is about actually doing it, whether you want to or not. Motivation feels good. Discipline is good. One is an emotion. The other is an action. And in the end, it's our actions, repeated over time, that define our lives, not our fleeting feelings." Ethan listened, captivated. Samuel's words were simple, yet they struck a chord deep within him. He had been chasing the storm, waiting for the lightning of motivation to strike, while Samuel had been quietly tending to his stream. He realized that all his grand declarations of starting tomorrow were just wishes. He hadn't built a system. He had just hoped for a feeling. That evening, Clara went home not with a burst of fiery motivation, but with a quiet, firm resolve. She didn't promise herself 8 hours of painting. Instead, she set a small, achievable goal. She would stand at her easel and paint for just 30 minutes, no matter what. The next morning, the warm, golden light of dawn streamed through her window, but she felt no magical surge of inspiration. She felt tired. The voice of self-doubt whispered in her ear, but she remembered Samuel's words. She walked to her easel, set a timer, and began to paint. It was difficult. The strokes felt clumsy, The color seemed wrong. But she kept going until the timer went off. It wasn't a masterpiece, but it was a start. She had kept her promise to herself. She did the same thing the next day, and the day after that. The sun would rise in a blaze of warm color, symbolizing the hope of a new day. But her internal world was often cool and dim. Some days were a genuine struggle. The cool blue light of evening would fill her room, mirroring the exhaustion and challenge she felt. There were days she wanted to give up, days she was convinced she had no talent. But she held onto the discipline. 30 minutes. Every day. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, things began to change. Her 30 minutes stretched to 45, then to an hour, then 2. It became a non-negotiable part of her day, like breathing. Painting was no longer something she did only when she felt inspired. It was simply what she did. And a funny thing happened. The more she painted, the more inspiration seemed to find her. Ideas would come to her while she was mixing colors or sketching a line. The act of doing the work was generating its own motivation. She realized that discipline wasn't the enemy of creativity. It was the channel through which creativity could flow consistently. The stream Samuel had spoken of was now flowing, and it was getting stronger every day. Months turned into a year, and Clara's studio, once a place of frustration, was now filled with vibrant canvases, each one a testament to her daily perseverance. Her skills had grown immensely, and her unique style began to emerge. Her work was no longer a forced effort, but a genuine expression of her soul. The journey was long and arduous, marked by the contrast between the warm hope of morning and the cool struggle of evening, but every step had been worth it. One day, Samuel visited her studio. He walked slowly from one painting to another, a look of profound admiration on his face. "Clara," he said softly, his voice full of warmth, "you did it. You built your stream." Clara looked around at her creations, at the tangible proof of her journey, and tears welled up in her eyes. "No, Samuel," she replied, her voice steady and clear. "I learned that motivation is the spark that lights the fire, but discipline is the wood that keeps it burning through the long, cold night. Without the wood, the spark is just a beautiful, fleeting moment that fades into darkness. So I ask you, what dream are you chasing? What great thing do you want to accomplish?" It's wonderful to feel motivated, to be inspired by the success of others. But remember Clara's story. Don't just wait for the storm of motivation to arrive. Start building your stream today. Start with something small, something you can do every single day without fail. Don't announce it to the world. Just make a quiet promise to yourself and keep it. Show up, especially on the days you don't want to, because the person you want to become is not built in a day of inspiration, but over a lifetime of discipline. Your future is forged not in grand promises, but in the small, consistent actions you take when no one is watching. Start now.